It's easy going. All right, hit it.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm at the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm at the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Last time. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
I think Martin's a little busy back there, bringing everybody online. That's cool. All right, so now that we got you high, we're going to bring you down. I invite you to close your eyes. And that was Lesley Alexander, by the way, our singer. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. She's a fun one. I like Lesley. So I want to welcome all those that are online. I can't see you quite yet, but I know you're there. And there's Reverend Shari. And we will scoot her over to the other screen in a minute. And Sylvia will lead us in our meditation and our quotes.
It is not what you have in you, it's what you're getting out. You have something to offer that nobody else has. You are unique, one of a kind. You're anointed to be you. You have exactly what you need. When you walk in your anointing, confident in who God made you to be, knowing that you've got what it takes, then the treasure on the inside, your gifts, your talents, your potential will be released. You'll step into the fullness of your destiny. And during our silent meditation, I invite you to confirm, affirm, and contemplate these words. I step into the fullness of my destiny. feeling the divine right here, right now. Knowing that this divine spirit, this energy, whatever name we call it, love in action, is the truth, is the truth of God, and God is all there is. And I'm grateful for this day unfolding so perfectly, so beautifully, gathered here together in an ever-growing community of dear hearts and beloved friends, here in the sanctuary and beyond the walls. So grateful for the technology that allows us to connect around the world. So grateful for the words that will be spoken by our wonderful speaker today. And very grateful also for the music that awakens the chambers of our inner hearts. Let the joy ring, let the happiness grow, let the peacefulness spread through and through each and every blessed being. It's a beautiful day, and there's always a way. Love is, God is. And together we say, and so it is. And now it is my distinct pleasure to bring back Lesley Alexander with her music. And so, all right.
Good morning, everyone. As usual, if you know any of the songs I sing, please sing along with me. You gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, leave gloom down to the minimum. Have faith, or pandemonium is liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said we better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. Illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said we better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. No.
It's so pretty.
She thanks you.
Yeah. Really beautiful. I always
Thank
love
you.
Lesley because she kind of brings in that nice, fun stuff. Yeah. Good job. Let's give her another hand. All right. So today we have Reverend Shari Sorbo on the screen. And what I want to say is I talked to her for about an hour yesterday. We always get together and we talk for about an hour. And she told me an extraordinary story that she's going to share with you today about the topic. So, yeah, perfectly imperfect and expansive experience. She had an expansive experience, I must say. So, Reverend Shari, and can we see who else is online by chance? It just shows one screen up here. Shows me. It's not in the group. I'd like to see the group if I could. I want to welcome all of them. We have people calling or coming in from all over the country and, well, all over the world, actually. So, yeah, Candace, St. Lucia's. There we are. There they are. There they are. Yay. All right, and Dee, where's that puppy? She's got a new dog. All right, so, all right, welcome everybody that's online, and let's let Reverend Shari take over. Let's give her a hand. Yeah.
Well, I see double of myself. Good morning, everyone. That doesn't mean I'm going to double up on my talk. Trust me. So Reverend Suzette talked about how, we talked for an hour yesterday. And I'm really talking about the perfectly imperfect, which this month is Practice Makes Imperfect. And I want to go along with that type today. And there's so much I want to fill in that I might skip over or trip on my tongue. So one of these days I'm going to be out of this box and I will be there in person. And it's coming pretty soon. I'm in the middle of packing boxes and packing clothes and doing what I need to do to get there in October. So bear with me. I'll be out of the box. Sylvia said to think on this, and it really goes with what I want to talk about today, which is from the book and Brené's Gifts of Imperfection. Sylvia said, I step into the fullness of my destiny. And so that's what I want to talk about today. Our destiny includes the imperfect part as well as the perfect part. So Martin has put the slide up. I really want to go into these 10 guideposts for wholehearted living. And if you're in the room, I do believe that you have a copy of this. If not, my email is there underneath the Gifts of Imperfection. And if you want, and people online, if you want a copy of this, I will send it to you. Just send me your email. So about 15 years ago, we started teaching the Gifts of Imperfection from Brené's book. So I always love these guideposts. And I'd just like you to take just a minute. And I want to talk about magnetically listening. Emma Curtis Hopkins talked about this eons ago, where the idea of magnetism, where we pull things in from not just the outside, but from our internal world. And I really noticed that for me, when I'm reading something, I'm reading like 1 or 2 books, maybe 3, but I never read it cover to cover. And I have it on with my journal next to it because there's so much good stuff out there that I get something and I underline it and stuff, but I really want to put it in my journal. And what it, to me, is like magnetically, when we listen magnetically, when you read something or you hear something, it draws something up from the unconscious. And that's why, for me, I like to write it in my journal. So this idea of magnetically listening, I'd like you just to take today, as we're talking, and and whatever I'm going to talk about or show you or anything, to see if it doesn't draw something out of your unconsciousness. And that's what I'd like to do with magnetic listening or reading. So I'm just going to plant a seed with that. So, Martin, if you can put that slide up now, this is what I want us to see as far as what we are drawn to in our gifts of imperfections. So I love this. I won't go over them. I'd like, if you can, just to take a moment and see if there's something within you that you're working on from the left side. I know for me, and I'll share with you my experience about what this month has been for me, but there really, one thing that I was really working on, and I'm looking at my slide, is exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. And if you go to the right side, that means to cultivate calm and stillness. And I remember when I was working at the magazine, it was like I would go home and say, oh, I'm so tired, or I'm so busy, or I'm so when I really got the work with Brene, it was like, oh, that's a status symbol. I never looked at it that way. So this month, I was really working on fear and moving over to gratitude and joy. So I'd love for you to take this and kind of, host it someplace and see, okay, these are the things that I think are, quote, imperfect. And this is what I can work on with that. And from the one thing that I also want to say is that from the research from the wholehearted living work, it has shown that when we numb the dark, or when we numb certain feelings we don't like, we also numb the light. We cannot be selective. We are spiritual beings in a human incarnation. So that part that we call imperfect or dark, when we numb that, we also numb the light. We don't want to do that, So when we try to take the edge off of any pain or vulnerability, I don't know why I can't say it today, when we try to take that pain off through different distractions, maybe it's eating, maybe it's shopping. Mine is shopping. Maybe it's, going out. I don't know. I don't know what distractions anybody has. I just know mine. But we try to take an edge off that way. So what we're doing is we're unintentionally dulling the experience of the good feeling as well. So just sticking a pin in that part of it. So the question is, how can we be perfect in our imperfection? And how can we be present with it and through everything? So this is where I want to share with you my vulnerability experience. This month has been challenging, to say the least. I was in a very vulnerable state. I lost a friend, a mentor, that I have been with for over 10 years. She made her transition through, I think it's been a month already. But over this past month, moving through the grief process, as most people know, I was pretty vulnerable. And I have to say, it was quite the experience for me because of everything that we had gone through together. So in this vulnerability state, I have been walking, and I come home and I get on my computer. I know there's techies out there, and they may be rolling their eyes, but I'm not a techie, so I'm going to set it up that way. I get on the computer, and I want to order dog treats for my dog. And so I get on the computer, type in the website, and all of a sudden this thing shows up. Your computer's infected. You can't shut it down. You need to call us immediately. Call Apple. They even said Apple. They even had Apple's address. So automatically, I'm fearful. That goes back to the fear. Fear instead of gratitude and joy. So my computer, my mind, has already switched off. So I'm on this call, and they say, yes, you're infected, and matter of fact, you're on this children's porn website. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't be like that. I'm a minister. I can't be on that. Second fear. Okay. So I'm in the middle of this. So this is where I go into, I can't connect. I don't know what's going on here inside of me, but I know that there's a power inside of me that is going to handle this and surround me, because I couldn't motivate myself out of it or pray myself out of it. Everything that we do, everything that we know went offline. So in the end, they were trying to take money out of the bank, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know how it goes. I've heard so many stories since this happened, but we ended up changing bank accounts. We ended up changing our all our credit cards. Everything had to be changed. There were like 30 people we had to contact. And in the end, it took me 4 days to get my mental computer back on. But I sat with that. And I had a friend, minister friend, who's a prayer partner. And she said to me, she said, we evolve through being involved. We cannot, I know Reverend Jerry talks about toxic positivity, and we cannot go there. We have to look at these, quote, imperfections. We have to look at how we're judging ourselves. We have to look at all that stuff, because we are human beings, spiritual beings in a human incarnation. Our body still reacts no matter what. So we evolve through being involved. So those 4 days, I was involved with what was going on inside of me. How could I? What's the matter? Why didn't you know? My daughter said, I wish you would have sent it to me because I would have told you. And other people said that, and it's like, that's not what happened. I went offline. And so I'm talking to my prayer partner about it, and I said, I've lost my faith in humanity. Here I am, a minister, and I've lost my faith in humanity. And then all of a sudden, there was just this nesting of emotions. I said, I lost my faith in humanity. And it was like, nope, I lost my faith in God. Nope, I lost my faith in myself. Aha. That's where my work started. We have to be involved. We have to be involved in the experience. Not beat ourselves up, not take that time to say, why didn't I? Why should I? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We have to look at it like, there's a part of me that is chatting and saying this. That's the judge. Everybody knows the judge. And there's another part of me that, is hurt through it all. And that's the part that needs compassion and education. I got a really big education on that one. But the click for me, the light bulb that went on for me was, I lost faith in myself. And that's what happens when we look at thinking that we're perfect and we know everything. And so I was humbled. I was on my knees. And Spirit meets us in the language that we understand. So whatever the language was for me in that experience, I had to hear it from within me. And so another person's language, like my daughter, I could have told you that. I couldn't hear it. It wasn't my language. It was Greek to me. She's in Greece right now, so that was a perfect example. But so I love that Spirit speaks to us in our own language, in a language that we understand. And that transforms our thinking, which transforms our life. In the Bible, there's a quote from 2 Corinthians 12:9. And it says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Spirit's power may rest on me." And that's what I did in the middle of this. It's like, I can't hear you, I can't reach you, but I know you're there. That still small voice inside of me, I knew it was there. And what this verse reveals to me is that it's about how Spirit works in the lives of people everywhere. And such as God's willingness to use human imperfections to accomplish his or her own purposes. Whatever that imperfection is, there's a voice within that points us in the right direction. There are no mistakes. There are only messages. So I was watching something on my phone, of course, and I saw Mark Kelly, who's a senator from Arizona. He's also he was an astronaut, but he really talks about imperfection in this way. My first flight went about as well as loose change in a cockpit, literally. My last flight brought my crew home from the space station, and was the space station Endeavour's final flight. So he says, it's not about how good you are when you start. It's about how good you push yourself to be. That is what we aren't born with this knowledge of everything. And these imperfections point us to where the work is. So through this month, I realized after the first week that I had, through all the vulnerability and the grief and everything that I went through, that I really started to get turned on to this Japanese work and the imperfections that we're talking about this whole month. So in this slide, it's called wabi sabi. And this is the Japanese idea of aesthetic philosophy, which encourages people to find beauty in the imperfection. So if you look at this painting, you can see people are looking at it differently. And what I saw with regard to the imperfection was there was a leaf there that it had died, but what they did with that leaf, and they painted it. So this is a philosophy that encourages people to find the beauty in imperfection, and looking at the impermanence and incompleteness of life. It's like that impermanence of that leaf changed into this beauty of that color. So there's two parts to this. The wabi, sounds funny, doesn't it? Expresses simplicity. It shows the flaws and the imperfections and refers to living with humility. And like I said, I was humbled this month. And being one with nature. And the sabi expresses the effect of time on an object and refers to accepting the life cycle of anything as it is, including the flaws. And this is a really good way of looking at where we started, even in Science of Mind, where we started and how we've come full circle. I have to tell you, I was teaching the gifts of imperfection years ago, and back then it was like, oh, we can't talk about imperfection. Now we're talking about it because it's part of us. It's part of our human adventure, right? So on with the wabi sabi philosophy came this idea of kintsugi. And I'm sure everybody knows what kintsugi is. It's where they take a broken cup and they put the gold in between. And the history of kintsugi is that, well, one, it exemplifies the idea of wabi-sabi, but it started in the 15th century with this samurai that had come home and he was wanting to enjoy some tea. And his teacup was broken. So he sent it out to be fixed. And so the craftsman came back and it was put together, but it was stapled together. So this samurai was not happy with that. So because this craftsman wanted to really please the samurai, he took it back and he started putting the gold in there. So the broken teacup, and I'm sure you've seen it, they talk about it everywhere. I get these vitamins that are called kintsugi because it shows the gold in there. So these are all like cracks and crevices, you know. So now the cups come back in gold inlay. And so just for a moment, just imagine all these ideas that we have of imperfections. And take a piece of gold inlay in your mind and just put that in what we call the cracks and crevices of imperfection. We evolve through being involved. We have to be involved in these imperfections. We can't pretend they're not there because they will, just like little children, they'll come roaring back in when we least expect it. So if we harvest the event that we're going through and we magnetically allow that to let itself draw itself up from the unconscious part of us, and we allow it to voice itself, there's no roaring left. There's just acceptance and compassion. So how do you extract learning from your experiences? How do you take that, quote, cracked part or those imperfections? And how do you paint, I say paint the town with gold. How do you do it? You know, that's the question. That's the question that you can look at and use the wholehearted living and see when you move from the left to the right. So I would love to introduce you to a spiritual practice that I do, and I did it this month. It's called Walking a Timeline. And I love the picture of the beach. It reminds me of Asilomar so much. So I did this month because I needed another timeline. So I encourage you and invite you to walk a timeline. And what you do is you take these 3x5 cards and you write down on the card. For this one, anyway, for me, this is what I used for my imperfections this month. You write down on the card the aspects of yourself and your journey that you may have previously considered to be imperfect. So then you put that card down on the floor, and then you move on. You write down another aspect of yourself, and you put that one down on the floor. So after you've written all these cards down, and I use my grief process and I use my imperfection process with the hacking that happened. After you've written these cards, put them down, then go back to the beginning and pause on each of these aspects and find the gratitude for the lessons that these aspects provided for you. And take a moment on each card to love yourself and look at the lessons that you received. One of my lessons in the timeline was that there were flags when I was listening to these people, but I didn't pay the attention. The fear got me instead of the flags. So that was one of the things. It's like, okay, now I know I have to be who was it? I think it was President Reagan that said, trust but verify. I love that one. And that was something that I got from this. That was the, if you can believe it or not, that was the blessing of what happened through all that. So I really encourage these timelines, walking timelines, and you can do it with regard to relationships. You can do it with regard to anything that's going on in your life at all, anything. So I would love for you to take away from today the guideposts and just kind of pull up magnetically and see if there's something in a timeline that would be interesting to you. So with that, I would like to close with something from Pope Francis, and I'd like to make it the prayer for today. This man, he may not be able to walk anymore, but his suffering and his imperfections have created his character. And so this is a speech that he spoke, and I don't know who he was with, but I do know that it really goes hand in hand with this month and this idea of perfectly imperfect. So if you will, I can't see you. If you're willing to, close your eyes and take a deep breath and see once again if there's anything that is magnetically pulling itself up from your subconscious as I read this prayer. You can have flaws, be anxious, or even angry, but don't forget that your life is the greatest business in the world. Only you can stop it from failure. Remember that being happy is not having a sky without storms, a road without accidents, a job without effort, relationships without disappointments. Being happy is to stop feeling a victim and become the author of your own destiny. It's going through deserts, but being able to find an oasis deep in your soul. It's to thank God every morning for the miracle of life. It's kissing your children, cuddling your parents, having poetic moments with your friends, even when they hurt us. To be happy is to let the creature that lives in each of us free, joyful, and simple. It's having maturity to be able to say, I made mistakes. It's having the courage to say, I'm sorry. It's having sensitivity to say, I need you. It's having the ability to say, I love you. May your life become a garden of opportunities for happiness, that in spring, I can be a lover of joy, and in winter, a lover of wisdom. And when you make a mistake, start over, because only then will you fall in love with life. You will find that being happy doesn't mean having a perfect life. Life uses tears to irrigate tolerance. Use your defeats to train your patience. Use your mistakes with the serenity of the sculptor. Use pain to tune into pleasure. Use obstacles to open the windows of intelligence. Never give up. Above all, never give up on you or the people that love you. And never give up on happiness, because life is an amazing show. And so it is. And I would like to close with the Om affirmation. I love this affirmation so much. I always love closing with it. I am an expression of God, born into the richness and abundance of the indwelling presence. Today, I walk upon my world consciously, creating oneness within and around me. And so it is. I can't hear.
You can't hear me. There we are. I said that was incredible.
Oh, thank
It's,
you.
You know,
Thank you.
yeah, really. You hear